Welcome back to Marathon Phoenix Commentary. My name is Ryoko TK. We'll be talking about episode 22 here. This is going to be the level, The Face of Modern Gaming. As far as things go, this might be one of my favorite levels in the game. It's certainly my favorite level in Chapter 5, which overall is a really strong chapter. This is the level with the most interesting layout. And I'm actually going to go ahead and talk about it kind of in depth because I like how this one came together. So this is a non-linear level. Your objective is twofold. First, you have to find a way to get inside the big building that most of this level centers around. And then after you get in the building, you have to find 3 red switches to open access to the basement in order to insert an uplink chip. The first part of this level, the exterior section, is arranged in a big circle that goes around the outside of the building, and this is the part where the 4 and Renegades fight. Once you get inside the building, the 4 are no longer an issue. It's just you and Renegades. And it's kind of interesting because there are multiple ways to get into the building, and it's kind of, each way has its own advantages and disadvantages. And that was sort of like a designed part of the level. I intended it to be sort of like a, multiple routes to choose from. And I guess I would assume the player to just take whatever he found first. You only have to find one way in, and you don't have to do a full clear of the exterior area, but I am actually choosing to do that just so I can show off all of the different ways to get inside. And also just so I can show off the exterior architecture of this level. As you can obviously tell, this level is very, very gray. It was a really deliberate choice of textures and then the use of fog as well to really kind of clamp down on the color palette. Like I said in the last episode, I think of this as the most stylish of the chapters, and each level has its own sort of distinct feel to it, and this is definitely an example of that. The muted color palette really makes certain things like this Red Hunter stand out with its projectiles. And I mean, since the whole game isn't like this, I feel like I can get away with doing it here. One of the reasons why I find this level so interesting is that it's really fun to play from like a quote-unquote pistol start, or marathoners will call it doing the Vidmaster run. If you play Doom, if you're part of the Doom community, you would consider it a pistol start, where you would just select the map from the menu, and then you just start with just the basic weapon and no ammo. And then you clear the entire level with pickups that you find in the level. All of the maps in Phoenix are designed to be beatable on Total Carnage, using the level select so you don't bring anything into the level, and without using any secrets, and without running out of ammo. So that's why there's so much ammo available in this game, is it's meant to be feasible to clear each level individually without using secrets. And that's actually a really fun way to play this game, is to just pick a level and just go. And it really makes the weapons more valuable because, of course, you can't just use the assault rifle all day. You'll run out of ammo. Because this level has several distinct routes in order to clear it, it's kind of fun, or it was fun to me in testing, to kind of pick a way to go and kind of let the level evolve from there. This is the first way, and this is the back entrance. This is the north side of the building. It's the most obvious way. It was kind of included as sort of a gimme in case you couldn't figure anything else out. The challenge of taking that route is that it puts you against a mother of all cyborgs in a really nasty position. And then once you fight that guy, you're only by a red recharger, which is really dangerous on this level. This level is a very open level. It's a lot like Neo New Mordor, in that enemies will activate from a long way away, and then they'll just kind of mill around and sort of wander, and you don't really expect to fight anyone in any particular place because enemies just sort of freely wander. But avoiding that Mother of All Cyborgs fight is usually a pretty wise choice. And if you take any of the other entrances into the building, you don't have to fight them. The second way to get into the building is to kind of go through this aqueduct here, through this water pump. If I can get up these rocks. You just climb up onto the rocks, you jump through this little passage here, and it also dumps you by the red recharger, but you don't have to fight the Mother of All Cyborgs. And then this room, obviously we're kind of going into the building here, sort of. If you were to look on the auto map, you would see that there's a staircase that can be lowered here. It's actually in that little tower that's just on the left here. So far as I know, there's no way to shoot the switch inside the tower to lower the steps. I think I have it at such an angle that that's not possible to shoot it from below, but it would be interesting to see. This first part of the level is also really harrowing because obviously right at the start of the level there's a pattern buffer. That's where I started the video at. But after you leave that opening tower, there's only one pattern buffer outside of the building, which I've already passed. And if you don't go that direction, you won't find it. So you may have to find a way to get inside the building without using a recharger or a save, which puts a little additional pressure on the player. This level is really tense. Making good use of that K-tar, actually, for once. Really tense because enemies will just sort of fly at you from, who knows where. The third way to get into the building is through that door up there that those fighters are guarding. And you can just climb up some rocks kind of to my right and jump around and get up there. That is probably the best way to get in. It's fairly obscure, but it's the best way to get in because it dumps you right by a yellow recharger in a much safer position. And it's right by the start of the level. I'm actually in the opening courtyard again. So it is the fastest way to get in. So if you were actually going to do a speed run of this game, that's the route you would choose most likely. The only reason it's the route I'm not taking is because I'm just going to man up and open the front door, which is the last way to get in, and I'm going to do that right now. It's the last way to get in unless you find a way to get in with grenade jumping, and if you do that, there are a few additional ways to do that. Grenade jumping is never required in Phoenix at any point, and in fact, if you do it, it's kind of a sequence break. But there are never any secrets that you need to grenade jump for. This is a switch that you can shoot. If you shoot this switch from this tower, you just open the front door and just go right in. And the reason I like to do it the front door route is because of that Mother of All Cyborgs, which is kind of floating around and back. If you don't open the door, you have to fight him from the inside in a really enclosed space, and it's very dangerous. Anyway, grenade jumping, I see it as kind of a sequence break, and the reason is because I like to use the low walls and the big windows and stuff so that the defenders can fly around. And if I sort of assume that the player's going to be jumping around on them, it would really break the levels wide open and make it pretty much impossible to design it in a clear and consistent way. So I just never require grenade jumping, and I assume that the player's not going to do it. Defenders on this level are extremely dangerous because there are certain areas where they will trigger from the other side of the level, like when you hit one switch, it'll open up a door, like a closet full of defenders on the other side of the level, and then they'll just be given free reign to sort of wander. And it makes the challenge on this level extremely dynamic, the same way it made the challenge on Neo New Mordor very dynamic. This level is definitely hard, but a little bit easier than Neo New Mordor, just because you have the full arsenal pretty much by this point, except the rocket launcher. But you have, you have the fusion mortar, and you have the end cannon, and lots of ammo for both. So the challenges that would be really difficult to handle in Neo New Mordor are a lot easier now. So once you're inside the building, the main objective is to find 3 switches, and these switches are bright red. They stand out really clearly against the gray, which is sort of intended design. They stand out really nicely, and I like how that worked out. As you can see, I have found none of them so far. Ooh. That's the first switch at the end of this hallway, and the switch immediately to the left of that red switch is the main door controls. So I actually shot that switch earlier, and you can shoot the red switch too. But if you're going for all secrets, it doesn't really save you any time, since you have to come up here to grab this regenerator anyway. But how this level was laid out, some of the sequence breaks are completely intentional, like being able to just shoot the door controls. And it's just a pretty open level in general, of course. Just a few big rooms once you're inside the building. But there's so many enemies floating around. You're pretty much under constant attack for most of this level. It's pretty challenging. I'm kind of being a scrub and abusing the saves too, so... This is the north side of the building again. This is, if you were to take that back entrance, this is where you would end up. And if you step outside, that will trigger the Mother of all Cyborgs to come in, so you don't want that. But this is also the side of the building that has the red recharge, so it is distinctly worse. It's an unbalanced level, and it was sort of designed to be unbalanced. I guess to give different players a different experience of handling this level. Because obviously, once you start clearing out some of the main sections of this interior part, I could just backtrack to the yellow recharger and have yellow health going up into this fight, but I don't know. It's just sort of interesting to make a level where players can do different things and sort of appreciate the level in a different way, depending on the choices that they make. And they don't necessarily know that they're making the choice. I think in the first terminal I explained that there are multiple ways to get into the building, but I don't really describe it that thoroughly, so... It's just a good mix-up from all the linear levels that are in this game. And that's the third red switch. In earlier versions of Phoenix, these were actually key cards that you picked up, much like on Vampire Killer and the Great Cave Offensive. They were key cards. But for some weird reason, they would glitch out and not work properly. I don't have any idea why. But I just replaced them as switches that you had to hit. This is the other way to get into the building. This is the water main that I mentioned earlier. You can jump into this path from outside. And it kind of dumps you back here by the red health and save. Tricky thing is, if you aren't paying attention, you can just walk right past that red recharger and you'll actually be dumped out on the outside on the other side of the building. And now that I have all the red switches hit, there are tons of additional defenders just floating around, and I don't know where they are, because they open up in closets that are nowhere near the switches. So you can kind of see I'm pretty tense as I'm walking around, constantly checking corners and so forth. But we're just going to head down to the bottom part of this level. This is the part of the level that I'm not really pleased with. I made this level in Forge, not Wayland, and as I was doing this basement section, I was almost out of polygons. So I had to make this room very simple. This is kind of a boss fight. This is a very simple room. It's a big, dark box. And the boss in this level are some gold troopers. And I'm actually just going to run past them because I really don't like this boss fight. This is one of the sections I was going to redo for the special edition, and I just kind of didn't. The gold troopers have just a lot of health, and they just shoot very, very quickly, and it's not really an interesting fight. So I just kind of go by it. So rest in peace. That fight, I wish I had done it a little better. Maybe if I do a re-release, I'll pay more attention to that basement area. Now we're back outside. This is the rocky sort of back entrance that I talked about earlier. Sort of the good way to get inside. And in order to leave the level, you just have to return to the beginning of the level. So that's all I'm going to do. Overall, it's a cool level, one of my favorites. It's got a good feel to it. Oh, hello. As far as the non-linear levels go, I think I executed this one really, really well. In sort of a way that just feels natural and has a lot to explore and a lot of cool fights that sort of develop themselves naturally in a good way. So, thanks for watching. Next episode, we'll start the last chapter, Chapter 6. Can't wait for that.